Oh, we just passed the 30-minute mark. All right. This will take a while, so I might split this into 2 parts to upload. We are doing modal auxiliaries today. And honestly, I can't be bothered to write everything on the board, because there's just so much I need to cover. So I'll do it vite, which means quick. Not to be confused with the Finnish form of that word, which if you geminated T, that's... But anyways, I digress. What is a modal auxiliary? Or in general, what is an auxiliary? Well, an auxiliary verb is a verb that modifies another's meaning without having a meaning unto itself. Right? So what does that mean? Well, it means that you cannot use an auxiliary verb by itself. Right? You cannot say, he can. Unless it's, well, of course, unless it's like some poetry or like writing and you know what you're doing. But let's just say this. If you know the rules, you can break them. Right? Oh, fuck. Oh. Hold on. Oh, no. Okay. I should free up some space. I will delete the cut versions of week 1. We're gonna just Sauces gigabyte. What is taking up so much storage? My god. Okay. Can I just empty? Yeah. Let's empty the recycling bin. Yes, please. Empty the recycling bin. Thank you. Alright. Let's continue. What was I talking about again? Right, modal auxiliaries. Auxiliary verb is an adverb. Oh, right. So as I was saying, if you're someone who knows what you're doing, if you're someone who knows what you're doing, every rule can be broken, right? If you do it good enough, and there's a purpose to it. But in normal everyday speech, you cannot use auxiliaries as just standalone, right? You cannot say he might. Not what, right? You cannot say he might orange. Okay, cool. You've given us an object. That's one step in the right direction. But he might what with the object, right? You need another verb. With an auxiliary verb, you need another verb to express its meaning, or else it cannot be meant, right? In other words, an auxiliary verb's complement is a verb phrase. And what is modality? Well, if you remember week 3, modality is essentially the statement's relationship with reality. Right? And a statement can have 3 kinds of relationships with reality. Dynamic, which is ability. Deontic, which is permission. Or like ethical, I guess you'd say, right? Like moral or moral. Or obligatory. They have the same thing under Kant, I think. And epistemic. For epistemic, which is likelihood or truth, right? And those are the 3 fundamental relationships that a verb has with reality, right? That a sentence has with reality, right? Can this be done? Should this be done? And did this done? Did this occur? Did this happen? And there are 5 modal auxiliaries that scholars generally agree are modal auxiliaries. Like, they absolutely 100% say, yes, these 5 are modal auxiliaries, period. There are other words that can be used to express modality. They can be used to express modality. Those are called semi-modal auxiliaries. Other verbs, those are called semi-modal auxiliaries. There are also adjectives and nouns that can express modality, but we will cover that next time because this is going to take forever, trust me. So all modal auxiliaries have a few things in common, right? They differ in meaning depending on tense. And what this means is not only the normal things, right? Like the past tense describes the past, and the present tense describes the present. I'm talking about fundamental changes in use and meaning, right? You could say, you should wear this to the mall tomorrow. But I say, you shall wear this to the mall tomorrow. Suddenly the dynamic is a little, not just a little, different, right? And in both of those cases, I was speaking in the non-past tense, right? The referent is the present. It is not the past. Even though I used the past form of the verb, it is not the past, right? And the only word in which you can use the past to mean the past is can. The only modal auxiliary, sorry. And they have special negation rules. So every modal auxiliary fundamentally has a problem with negation, right? Let's say we have a statement, something like, bees can fly. right? Bees can fly. You might notice I colored all three of those words in separate, in different tenses because in different colors because this is the verb, this is the auxiliary, and this is the subject. Right? Those have different roles in the sentence. So, remember last week when I said that all modal statements can essentially be broken down to one sentence, which is according to something, comma, it is something that something. Right? This is called the modal base. This is called the modal force. And this is just a preposition. Right? So, I can rephrase the sentence like this. According to observation, according to my observation, it is necessary that bees can fly. Now, I am going to highlight it is necessary that bees fly. I cannot have a modal sentence in my sentence. All right, so let's say for a second this is a different sentence, right? Without the modal. Bees fly. When I negate this sentence, bees fly, using do support. I'll cover that in future weeks, I promise. Once we get through modality, I'll do support. Bees don't fly. This is very simple, right? All it's saying is that bees do not fly. Simple. It is not true that bees fly. In other words. But when I insert a not here, where should this go? Should it go here? Should it go here? Should it go here? Well, obviously it does not go here, right? The modal base stays the same regardless of the negation to this part. It is always according to my observation. Why? Because this isn't actually stated in the sentence. It is implied, and it can be reasoned out that observation is the modal base. Right? So obviously, that is not negated. But we really have no way of deciding which one of these go in. Because it may seem like a subtle difference in meaning, but it is meaningful, right? Take you mustn't apologize. You must not apologize, and you need not apologize, right? You must not apologize means you can do anything, but you must not apologize. No, it means you cannot do anything except not apologize, right? You need not apologize means you can apologize, but you don't have to. So, the difference is that if you say something like, you must not apologize, the not in you must not apologize is negating is negating this part, right? So, according to my observation, it is necessary that bees do not fly. As in, bees can do everything, but they must. It is very true that they do not fly. But if I say something like, you need not apologize, what that means is this. It means, according to my observation, it is not necessary that bees fly. Does this mean that bees do not fly? Sorry. Does it mean that bees do not fly? Of course not. Of course not. Do you know what that is? That's denying the consequent. Right? That's a logical fallacy. What this means is that it is not necessary for bees to fly, but we have not proven they do not fly. It is just that they are doing something where I can't quite tell whether they're flying or not, but they're definitely not flying, right? They might be doing something else, I don't know, but the thing is, there's a very important difference between the two. Because if you say something like, you needn't, I don't know, you need not get executed in Eritrea, and someone takes it as you need not escape. Never mind, just cut this part. Anyways. Let's actually get into some modal auxiliaries and their rules. Right, and oh, I almost forgot. This model of negation, putting the not here, is called external negation. And this is called internal negation. Why? Because external negation negates outside the main clause, which is the main preposition, which is that bees fly. And internal negation negates inside the preposition, which is that bees fly. Imagine this is like shells, right? This is a shell, this is a shell, this is the core. That's why it's external and internal negation. Alright. Now you see why this took so long to learn.